Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday morning. It's a beautiful day in April here in the Fort Worth, Dallas area. As you can see, 6:05. There we go. It's pretty cold at the moment, but it's gonna be nice and a little warm. Where would it not be April? Such a nerd, such a nerd. Kuzadan, have you even slept, bro? Good morning. I woke up an hour ago, so there's a secret about Terrea. And I see Kuzadan and Charles Fox. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, Kuzadan. Good morning. Good morning. What did you buy for your birthday? And when was your birthday? Excuse me. So, the secret is that I'm a pretty upbeat person, I would say. I'm pretty upbeat. I'm pretty positive. I think you guys can see that. It's true. Except for 1 hour of every day. 1 hour of every day. I'm compact all the negativity in the entire world into 1 hour of every day. That's the 1 hour after I wake up from sleeping. I don't wake up well. I get up every morning at 5 a.m. just so that whenever I work at 7 a.m., I'm all PT keen. Sometimes it's less than an hour, but at least, half an hour to an hour. I am like demon. I'm like the most horrible person on the planet in that 1 hour. I don't talk to people. I do my thing. I put my music in. I don't want to know that anything else exists. That's it. So, I'm past my 1 hour mark, and I'm here with you guys. So it's regular me. I am. I'm like such a horrible demon. You guys have no idea that 1 hour every day, it's like a transformative hour. Where I go from a horrible, worst person on the planet to me, Terrea. So good morning to Terrea and Tomes. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Excuse me. I have my hot tea. I have my water. I have horrible bed hair. I do. So my hair is pretty. I like it. It's one of my vein points. But it's wavy hair. So it's naturally wavy. And I live in Texas where it's the land of humidity. So it frizzes real easy. And whenever I wake up or whenever somebody messes with my hair, it turns into Muppet hair. So it's got all these little things sticking up, and whenever I move, it sort of moves independently of me like Fraggles or Muppet hair. That's my hair. It's not adorable. I don't care what anybody says. It's annoying as all AF. So, at least I have hair. I do have hair. I have I don't have as much hair as normal. I cut it. So it was much longer, but now it's just mid-back. So it's long, but it's not down to my butt or anything. It's mid-back. A little bit longer than mid-back, I would say. Anyway. Let's get to reading some stuff. We're going to be reading Count of Monte Cristo. We're picking up on chapter 14. I did not remember that this book was so darn long. so it's going to take some time. I will be breaking this book up into, instead of every Saturday, with other projects, because that's the only way I'm going to get through this. So, in the future, I do have planned to read some more 40K fan fiction. There's one of our Twitch friends has also written some 40K fluff for his army. Musefi might maybe let me read his 40K stuff on stream. I will also be reading some stuff for another streamer requested item. It looks real cool. It's from Fritz Lieber. He did a bunch of short stories, and I will be reading some Fritz Lieber soon, adding them to the page in the info. So I'm gonna sprinkle those days in intermittently between Count of Monte Cristo, and I may take some time to record Count of Monte Cristo on the side and upload it as a VOD. Time to Kill Danglers, yes. Shank Danglers, yes. Dongles is still remanding raises in the Chroma Squad. Cool. We might talk to Rainer. He has some fluff on his Warman. Good idea, Charles. I will maybe hit Rainer up. That would be cool. So, one second and we'll get to this thing. Oh, I get it now. Demanding. You said Chroma Squad and I had no idea what you were talking about. All I know is the Kuzadan squad that he made, not Chroma Squad. Pfft, who are those guys? Pretenders. I know. Peanut butter jelly time. That's what I know. Okay. So, Chapter 14. The Count of Monte Cristo. By Alexandre Dumas. The Two Prisoners. A year after Louis XVIII's restoration, a visit was made by the Inspector General of Prisons. Dantes in his cell heard the noise of preparation, sounds that at the depth where he lay would have been inaudible to any but the ear of a prisoner who could hear the splash of a water drop that every hour fell from his roof of his dungeon. He guessed something uncommon was passing among the living, but he had so long ceased to have any intercourse with the world that he looked upon himself as dead. I work on painting the guys more than writing the guys' story time. Yeah. I mean, you should definitely think about writing your own fluff as well, Charles. Shojin. Good morning, Shojin. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, it's afternoon for you. Good afternoon, sir. It's nice to see you. I appreciate that you're here. That's very nice of you. Good morning, good afternoon, all you people who are already in the future. Let me pick back up. The inspector visited one after another the cells and dungeons of several of the prisoners whose good behavior or stupidity recommended them to the clemency of the government. He inquired how they were fed and if they had any requests to make. The universal response was that the fare was detestable and that they wanted to be set free. You do have your nice moments, although they are very few. Shojin, please, you can't possibly make that fly here. I happen to know and have seen you are one of the nicest people in chat, any chat I've ever seen, even Casey's chat. So that's not gonna fly with me. You're obviously a very nice person, and thank you so much for showing. I appreciate all of you guys, Charles and Shojin and Kuzadan. Alright. So they all wanted to be set free. The inspector asked if they had anything else to ask for. They shook their heads. What could they desire beyond their liberty? The inspector turned smilingly to the governor. I do not know what reason government can assign for these useless visits. When you see one prisoner, you see all. Always the same thing. Ill-fed and innocent. Are there any others? Yes. The dangerous and mad prisoners are in the dungeons. Okay, let us visit them. And the inspector, with an air of fatigue, we must play the farce to the end. Let us see the dungeons. Let us first send for 2 soldiers, said the governor. The prisoners sometimes, through mere uneasiness of life, and in order to be sentenced to death, commit acts of useless violence, and you might fall a victim. Take all the needful precautions, replied the inspector. 2 soldiers were accordingly sent for, and the inspector descended a stairway so foul, so humid, so dark, that to be loathsome, to sight, smell, and respiration. Ugh, cried the inspector. Who can live here? A most dangerous conspirator. A man we are ordered to keep the most strict watch over, as he is daring and resolute. Is he alone? Certainly. Well, how long has he been here? Nearly a year. Was he placed here when he first arrived? No, not until he attempted to kill the turnkey who took his food to him. To kill the turnkey? Yes, the very one who is lighting us. It is not true. Oh, is it not true, Antoine? Okay, asked the governor. True enough. He wanted to kill me, returned the turnkey. He must be mad, said the inspector. Oh, he's worse than that. He is a devil, returned the turnkey. Shall I complain of him? Demanded the inspector. Oh no, it's useless. Besides, he is almost mad now, and in another year he'll be quite so. So much the better for him. He will suffer less, says the inspector. He was, as this remark shows, a man full of philanthropy and in every way fit for his office. I guess. You are right, sir, replied the governor, and this remark proves that you have deeply considered the subject. Now we will have in a dungeon about 20 feet distant, and to which you descend by another stair, an abbey, formerly leader of the party in Italy, who's been here since 1811, and in 1813 he went mad. The change is astonishing. He used to weep, and now he laughs. He grew thin, and he now grows fat. You'd better see him, for his madness is amusing." "I will see them both," returned the inspector. "I must conscientiously perform my duty." This was the inspector's first visit. He wished to display his authority. "Let us visit this one first," he said. "By all means," replied the governor, and he signed to the turnkey to open the door. At the sound of the key turning in the lock and creaking of the hinges, Dantes, who was crouched in a corner of the dungeon whence he could see the ray of light that came through the narrow iron grating above, raised his head. Seeing a stranger, escorted by 2 turnkeys holding torches and accompanied by 2 soldiers, and to whom the governor spoke barehanded, Dantes, who guessed the truth and that the moment to address himself to the superior authorities was come, sprang forward with clasped hands. The soldiers interposed their bayonets, for they thought he was about to attack the inspector, and the latter recoiled 2 or 3 steps. Dante saw that he was looked upon as dangerous. Then, infusing all the humility he possessed into his eyes and voice, he addressed the inspector and sought to inspire him with pity. The inspector listened attentively, then turning to the governor, observed, "He will become religious. He is already more gentle, he is afraid, and retreated before the bayonets. Madmen are not afraid of anything. I made some curious observation on this at Charenton." Then turning to the prisoner, "What is it you want?" said he. "I want to know what crime I have committed, to be tried, and if I'm guilty, to be shot, if innocent, to be set at liberty." "Are you well fed?" "I believe so. I don't know. It's of no consequence. What matters really not only to me, but to officers of justice and the king, is that an innocent man should languish in prison, the victim of an infamous denunciation, to die here, cursing his executioners." "Good morning, Moody Paul. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Moody Paul. I hope your Saturday is going well." "You are very humble today," remarked the governor. "You are not so always. The other day, for instance, when you tried to kill the turnkey." "It's true, sir. I beg his pardon, for he was always very good to me, but I was mad." "And you're not so any longer?" "No. Captivity has subdued me. I have been here so long." "So long? When were you arrested then?" asked the inspector. "The 28th of February, 1815, at 2:30 in the afternoon." "Well, today is the 30th of July, 1816, but it is but 17 months. "Only 17 months, replied Dantes. "Oh, you do not know what is 17 months in prison. 17 ages, rather, especially to a man who, like me, had arrived at the summit of his ambition, to a man who, like me, was on the point of marrying a woman he adored, who saw an honorable career open before him, and who loses all in an instant, who sees his prospects destroyed, and is ignorant of the fate of his affianced wife, whether his aged father still be living. 17 months' captivity to a sailor accustomed to the boundless ocean is a worse punishment than human crime ever merited. Have pity on me, then, and ask me not intelligence, but a trial, not pardon, but a verdict. A trial, sir. I ask only for a trial. That surely can't be denied to one who is accused." "We shall see," said the inspector. Then turning to the governor, "On my word, the poor devil touches me. You must show me the proofs against him." "Certainly, but you will find terrible charges." "Monsieur," continued Dantes, "I know it's not in your power to release me, but you can plead for me. You can have me tried. That is all I ask. Let me know my crime and the reason why I was condemned. Uncertainty is worse than all." "Go on with the lights," said the inspector. "Monsieur, I can tell by your voice you are touched with pity. Tell me at least to hope." No, I can't tell you that," replied the inspector. "I can only promise to examine your case." "Oh, I'm free then. I am saved." "Who arrested you?" "Well, Mr. Villefort. See him and hear what he says." "Well, Mr. Villefort's no longer at Marseille. He is now at Toulouse." "I am no longer surprised at my detention," murmured Dantes, "since my only protector is removed." "Had Mr. de Villefort any cause of personal dislike to you?" "Well, none. On the contrary, he was very kind." "I can then rely on the notes he has left concerning you?" "Entirely?" "That is well. Wait patiently then." Dantes fell on his knees and prayed earnestly. The door closed, but this time a fresh inmate was left with Dantes. Hope. Will you see the register at once?" asked the governor, "or proceed to the other cell?" "Let us visit them all," said the inspector. "If I once went up the stairs, I probably don't have the courage to come back down again." "Ah, this one's not like the other, and his madness is less affecting than this one's display of reason." "What's his folly?" "He fancies he possesses an immense treasure. The first year he offered government 1,000,000 of francs for his release. The second, 2. The third, 3, and so forth, and progressively. He is now in his 5th year of captivity. He will ask to speak to you in private and offer you 5 millions. Wow, how curious. What is his name?" "The Abbé Faria. Number 27. "It is here. Unlock the door, Antoine." The turnkey obeyed, and the inspector gazed curiously into the chamber of the mad abbé. In the center of the cell, in a circle traced with fragment of plaster detached from the wall, sat a man whose tattered garments scarcely covered him. He was drawing in this circle geometrical lines, seemed as much absorbed in his problem as Archimedes was when his soldier of Marcellus slew him. The old references kill me, guys. He did not move at the sound of the door and continued his calculations until the flash of the torches lighted up with the unwonted glare the somber walls of his cell. Raising his head, he perceived with astonishment the number of persons present. He hastily seized the coverlet of his bed and wrapped it around himself. "What is it you want?" said the inspector. "I, sir," replied the abbé with an air of surprise, "want nothing." "You do not understand," continued the inspector. "I am sent here by the governor to visit the prison and hear the requests of the prisoners." "Oh, that's different," cried the abbé, "and we shall understand each other, I hope." "There now," whispered the governor, "it's just as I told you." "Sir," said the prisoner, "I am the Abbé Faria, born at Rome. I was for 20 years Cardinal Spada's secretary. I was arrested, why I know not, toward the beginning of the year 1811. Since then, I have demanded my liberty from the Italian and French government. Why from the French government? Because I was arrested at Piombino, and I presume that, like Milan and Florence, Piombino has become the capital of French department. Ah, you have not the latest news from Italy? My information dates back from the day in which I was arrested, returned Abby. And as the emperor had created the kingdom of Rome for his infant son, I presume that he has realized the dream of Machiavelli and Caesar Borgia, which was to make Italy a united kingdom. Sir, returned the inspector, Providence has changed this gigantic plan you advocate so warmly. Yes, indeed, Moody Paul. If in doubt, blame the French. Why, you ask? Because they're flippin' French, and they're just so Frenchy French. Exactly. It only means the rendering of Italy strong, happy, and independent. Very possibly, only I am not come to discuss politics, but to inquire if you have anything to ask or to complain of. The food is the same as the other prisons. That is very bad. The lodging is very unhealthful, but on the whole passable for a dungeon. But it is not to that which I speak of. I have a secret I want to reveal, the greatest importance. We're coming to that, whispered Governor. It is for that reason I am delighted to see you, continued the Abbé, although you have disturbed me in a most important calculation which, if it succeeded, would possibly change Newton's system. Could you allow me a few words in private? What did I tell you? Said the Governor. You knew him, said the inspector with a smile. What you ask is impossible, sir, he continued to address Faria. But I would speak of you of a large sum, amounting to 5 millions. The very sum you named, whispered the inspector. However, it's not absolutely necessary for us to be alone. The governor can be present. Unfortunately, I know forehand what you are about to say. It concerns your treasures, does it not? Faria fixed his eyes on him with an expression that would have convinced anyone else of his sanity. Of course. What else should I speak? Mr. Inspector, continued the Governor, I can tell you that the story as well as he, for it has been dinned in my ears for the last 4 or 5 years. That proves, returned the Abbé, that you are like those of Holy Writ, who having ears hear not, and having eyes see not. My dear sir, the government is rich, does not want your treasure. Keep them until you're liberated. The Abbé's eyes glistened. He seized the inspector's hand. But what if I'm not liberated, he cried, and am detained here until my death? This treasure will be lost, and had not government better profit by it? I will offer 6 millions, and I will content myself with the rest if they will only give me my liberty. On my word, said the inspector in a low tone, had I not been told before that this man was mad, I should believe what he says. I am not mad, replied Faria with that acuteness of hearing peculiar to prisoners. The treasure I speak of really exists, and I offer to sign an agreement with you in which I promise to lead you to the spot where you shall dig, and if I deceive you, bring me here again. I ask no more. The governor laughed. Is the spot far from here? 100 leagues. Is it not ill planned if all the prisoners took it into their heads to travel 100 leagues and their guardians consented to accompany them? They would have capital chance of escaping. The scheme is well known, says the inspector, and the Abbé's plan has not even a merit of originality. Turning to Faria, he says, I inquired if you are well fed. He said, swear to me, said Faria, to free me if what I tell you prove true, and I will stay here while you go to the spot. Are you well fed? Repeated the inspector. Sir, you run no risk, for as I told you, I will stay here. There's no chance of my escaping. Do you not reply to my question? Replied the inspector impatiently. Nor you to mine, cried the abbé. You will not accept my gold. I will keep it for myself. You refuse me my liberty. God will give it to me. And the abbé, casting away his coverlet, resumed his place and continued his calculations. Like a ninja says, oh my god, 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 oh my flipping god. Aww. Hello, ninja. How are you, sweetie? Good morning, ninja. How are you? Good morning. Oh, it's afternoon for you too. Good afternoon, like a ninja. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you, sir? You're very good. Thanks. How are you? I am okay. I have some excitement going on later today. I am meeting up with some fellow nerd friends at a game shop, and I will be watching some people play 40K, taking pictures and putting together some of my Space Marines and talking and chatting. And I'm nervous because I've not met these people before. They seem amazing, of course, but I'm nervous because I am not the cool girl and I'm still nervous. Moody Paul, I did no such thing. There was no accent at all. I wish I had an accent. That would be beautiful. If I had a posh London accent for you guys, I would totally pull it out of my bag of tricks. But I have no bags of tricks. Good morning, Beamy. Hi, Beamy. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Beamy. How are you? It's nice to see you. Charles Fox. So I have decided I'm not playing Shadespire today. I thought I might, and I was working on my Orc Iron Boys Shadespire box furiously last night, and then it came to find out that I probably won't be playing. So I stopped painting them. I will paint them later today, or tomorrow. I'll paint them, and I'll still post them, but I'm gonna be just putting together Space Marines and stuff because I have a whole bunch of Marines still on sprues, and I still have an entire Dark Imperium box that has not been assembled at all. I have an entire box of Dark Imperium, for real. My Dark Imperium box has not been touched at all. It's heresy. Like a Ninja says, you'll be fine, sweets. You're awesome and everyone loves you. Like a Ninja, I wish that were true. I appreciate your kind words. I am just not that cool, so I hope that I don't make a nuisance of myself. That's what I hope. We'll see. Do the Candy King voice. Sorry, Kuzadan. I don't know the Candy King voice off the top of my head. I have, of course, seen that movie because I love Wreck-It Ralph. I'm looking forward to the second Wreck-It Ralph, but I don't know it. Moody Paul says, you're a lovely lass, my dear. It will go swimmingly. Thank you. I appreciate your sentiment. I am also hopeful. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not horrible. So do a bad English accent, says Charles, and let me know if you want help creating a deck. I have a good one. Will do, Charles Fox. Amberton. Good morning, Amberton. It's afternoon for you as well. Good afternoon, Amberton. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. Ultra Supreme Heresy. Yes, Ultra Supreme Heresy. Not assembling an entire... So I've had this Dark Imperium box since it came out. Like, I got in on pre-order and everything, and I have not put it together at all. I have a Dreadnought I haven't put together, and I need to put together all the things because I'm going to be painting up my Space Marines for Armies on Parade, hopefully. Maybe, if it goes well. I need to practice my airbrush skills. Yes, like a ninja, I am very horrible. I'm trying to make sure that I scale back the horrible so other people will like hang out with me more because it's sad. Anyway, back to reading. I'll pour more tea. I have hot tea. Okay. Where was I? I am not mad. Swear to me. You will not accept my gold. I'm going back to my calculations. Moody Paul says, don't worry, it's exactly how I started out. Just sit back and chill and build. Do be afraid to ask, don't be, if you get stuck on the rules and such. Ninja tries to steal my tea. No! No! Don't steal my tea, Ninja. Dear God, I need it. I haven't been drinking a lot of coffee lately, so I don't have as much caffeine. This is jasmine green tea because it's my favorite, and I need it for my voice. I need all the tea for my voice. All the tea. I should have drank some of Majin's tea. Majin, TB, has a business on the side making tea, and he has a website, guys. So I think you guys have seen Majin around, right? And he has rubylioninc.com. It's the hand blended teas, and it's really good. Majin sent me some tea to try, and it was amazing. Green tea, go get the clubs, stick to Earl Grey. Tea burglar. Hooty Hoot. Hey, good morning, Hooty Hoot. Yorkshire tea. Okay, so true story. I have in the house my favorite jasmine green tea. I do have some decent Earl Grey. I have some English breakfast, Irish breakfast, Darjeeling, and some others. I have on the way some PG tips because everyone tells me I need to drink PG tips from England, and I have a whole bunch of flavors from PG tips on the way. So I will be trying to drink a proper tea soon with milk and 1 sugar, because I was told by a friend of mine that I need to drink PG tips or English breakfast with milk and 1 sugar. So I'm going to try it because that's how he takes his tea, and we'll try that out. In my green tea in the morning, I drink my green tea, my jasmine tea, with honey because it's good for my throat, and I like to speak decently at work. I speak a lot at work, so gotta keep the pipes functional. Okay, back to reading. He had a scheme. He has treasure. He's counting his treasure. Got it. No monster. That'll kill you, Kuzadan. Please, dear God, watch out for the monster. All right. So after they closed the door, he was asking. He was wealthy once, perhaps, says the inspector, or dreamed he was and woke mad. After all, if he had been rich, he would not have been here. So the matter ended for the abbé. He remained in his cell, and the visit only increased the belief in his insanity. Those treasure seekers whose desires of the impossible would have accorded to the poor wretch in exchange for his wealth the liberty he so earnestly prayed for. But the kings of modern times, restrained by the limits of mere probability, have neither courage nor desire. They fear the ear that hears their orders, and the eye that scrutinizes their actions. Formerly they believed themselves sprung from Jupiter and shielded by their birth, but nowadays they are not invulnerable. Amber, if you ever get to London, you should try a proper afternoon tea at Harrods or Fortnum and Mason. It's an expensive treat. Ting sandwiches and scones served on a silver platter. A nice variety of scrumpy cakes. Nice. I've been to high tea a couple of times, but our high tea is just fake because it's not real English high tea, isn't it? So I would kill to go to high tea just once, just to. Limbs distorted and their flesh lacerated by torture. So madness is always concealed in its cell, from whence, should it depart, it's conveyed to some gloomy hospital, where the doctor has no thought for man or mind in the mutilated being of the jailer who delivers him. The very madness of the abbey, gone mad in prison, condemned him to perpetual captivity. The inspector kept his word with Dantes. He examined the register and found the following note concerning him. It read, Edmond Dantes, violent Bonapartist, took an active part in the return from Elba. The greatest watchfulness and care to be exercised. This note was in a different hand from all the rest, which showed that it had been added since his confinement. The inspector could not contend against this accusation. He simply wrote, Nothing to be done. The visit had infused new vigor into Dantes. He had till then forgotten the date, but now with a fragment of plaster he wrote the date, 30th July, 1816, and made a mark every day in order not to lose his reckoning again. Days and weeks passed by, and then months. Dantes still waited. He at first expected to be freed in a fortnight. This fortnight expired. He decided that the inspector would do nothing until his return to Paris, and that he would not reach there until his circuit was finished. Therefore, he fixed 3 months. Well, 3 months passed away, and then 6 more. Finally, 10 months and a half had gone by for no favorable change. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Art of Mike Disney. Michael, are you kidding me? Good morning, Mike. I am going to die. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, everyone who's coming over with Mike Disney. I'm about to die. This is Terea in Tomes. I'm Terea. Mike Disney, you beautiful, beautiful man. I am very touched that you would bring all of your viewers to listen to The Count of Monte Cristo being read this morning. Mike, if you're here, please type, because I'm gonna die. I'm about to cry. I don't know what to do. This has never happened. Oh my gosh, nothing but love for you, Mike Disney. Speaking of this, I'm about to... Oh my God. Michael, remember that I'm going to be making your wife's invisible rhino very soon. So this coming week, I am creating your wife's invisible rhino, and then I'll get together with you in order to ship it to you and swap, okay? So me and Mike Disney are swapping, doing an art change. I'm making an invisible rhino for the Wonder Woman stuff for Mike's wife, because she likes Wonder Woman as well. Oh my God. Hi, good morning, Captain Healthio. I haven't seen you in a while. And everybody is... Mike has a nice beard, but I don't know if I call him beautiful. Michael is a really nice human being, and nobody could ever convince me of otherwise. He's always been extremely supportive of everybody I know. So that's where it is. I'm gonna die. Oh my gosh. Good morning, everyone. So this morning I'm streaming really early. I have a date to go out and watch some 40K being played a little later. So I'm streaming early and I'm super nervous now. Mort! You guys are killing me. Good morning, Mort. Hi. Dodo rated you? Yes. Well, good morning, everybody. So we're reading The Count of Monte Cristo. We're on chapter 14, and I welcome you guys in. All the love and hugs to everyone this morning. You guys are gonna break me. I don't want to be broken on stream like everybody else breaks. I don't want to. I'm trying to be with it and just keep going. I'm trying. Oh my gosh, I can't seem to type. Okay. Is it just me, or does everyone else get a bit of shiver when she says your name out loud? I will say your real name if you don't behave, Mr. Mort75, because now I know your real name. So, I'm trying not to blush. This is so crazy. Good morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, excuse me. I am so sorry. You guys have me in tears. I'm sorry. I'm crying because it's all so sweet. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. I tried to mute it and it's just sad, okay? I'm sorry. It's pleasure. It's not pleasure. It's happy. It's funny. I'm sorry. Okay. Let me get my stuff together and we'll read for you, okay? So, good morning, Art of Mike Disney. Good morning, Mort. Good morning, everyone else who came over with them. So, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll get myself together. We just read the note from Villafort about Edmond Dantes. And there was nothing to be done. And I'm gonna drink some tea real quick. Okay, I'm sorry. This visit had infused new vigor into Dante's, and he had now gone 6 months without hearing anything from anyone. And I'm out of tea, so I have to switch to water. This sucks. Okay. Angry Redhead says, it's all part of the experience and we love Tyrion. Stop. Charles Fox, don't you dare. Charles Fox, don't you even dare. Okay. I can do this, guys. I can keep going. Alright. So finally 10 months and a half had gone by and no favorable change had taken place. Dante's had begun to fancy the inspector's visit was just a dream, an illusion of the brain. Thank you, Beamington. I hope I would be okay. We'll see. At the expiration of a year, the governor was transferred. He had obtained a charge of a fortress at Ham. He took with him several of his subordinates, and amongst him Dante's jailer. A new governor arrived, and it would be too tedious to acquire the names of the prisoners. He learned their numbers instead. This horrible place contained 50 cells. Their inhabitants were designated by the numbers of their cell, and the unhappy man was no longer called Edmond Dantes. He was now number 34. Thank you so much, guys. Captain Healthio, thank you for the follow. Charles Fox, thank you for the host. You guys are very sweet to me. I don't even deserve all of this. Thank you so much. I'm still breaking a little bit, but I'm trying to get it back together. Thank you. Like a ninja, I'm okay. If you want to do something like that, that would be sweet, and I would understand. It's very flattering. Beamington has a couple of clips of me, and it's very flattering. You guys are the best. The very best. You guys are the very best of people, and I don't mind any of that, because you guys make me blush. It's so bad. Okay. Good morning, Napster. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Napster. Okay. Angry Redhead. Thank you. Stop. Thank you, Angry Redhead, for the host. I appreciate it. Thank you. Good morning, Mort. If you'd like, I can say your real name. Oh, Mort. I will be reading some of your stuff that you had requested soon. I'll be breaking up the Count of Monte Cristo with some of the, goodness me, the, information from Fritz Lieber. So starting next week, I will be sprinkling through some of the Fritz Lieber stories for you. Stop. Thank you, Napster. I appreciate you. I'm never gonna... Oh my gosh. Thank you very much, Napster. I appreciate your host. So yes, next week, instead of Dante's, we're going to do some Fritz Lieber, as requested by Mort, because he is an amazing person. Everybody go follow all of these amazing people. Oh my gosh, good morning, Gate Mice. Good morning. Good morning, Gate Mice. Good morning, sir. The clip loops perfectly. I'm afraid I don't want to click on the loop right now. I'll check it later. I know Ninja is really good at editing, so I'm sorry. Okay, no, Mort. I'm never gonna do that for sure. ever. I'm never gonna monetize my account, my stuff. Like a ninja. Stop. You guys are so sweet. You guys are very sweet to me. Thank you so much. Thank you for the host, Ninja. I appreciate it. This is me all day today. This is me. There. All the hugs. Okay. No, I'm never gonna turn that on. No bits, no donations. I would rather be a cheerleader for all of my friends in Twitch Creative because you guys are the very best, so I'll never turn on the monetizing. I think you guys are worth way more than little old me reading. But we are gonna read. We're gonna go on to chapter 15 before I die. Okay, so chapter 15, number 34 and number 27, which we found is, I have to stop smiling in order to read it. This is hard. Thank you. You guys are amazing. I appreciate you all. I also missed the follow from Javasuko, and I am so sorry. Thank you, Captain Healthio. Thank you, Javasuko, for the follow. I appreciate you very much. I'm sorry that I missed calling you out. I love it. Thank you. Huge hugs for everybody. Huggles. All the huggles, Mort. Okay. So Dante's passed through all the stages of torture natural to prisoners in suspense. He was sustained at first by the pride of conscious innocence, which is the sequence to hope. Then he began to doubt his own innocence, which justified in some measure the governor's belief in his mental alienation, and then, relaxing his sentiment of pride, he addressed his supplications, not to God, but to man. God is always the last resource. Unfortunately, who ought to begin with God do not have any hope in him until they have exhausted all other means of deliverance. Like a ninja, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Napster, don't you dare. I would really be upset. Those things were sent with love and light and all the best. Don't you dare. Charles Fox, don't you dare. Don't do it, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you. Don't do it. Thank you. All right. Dante is asked to be removed from his present dungeon into another for change. However disadvantageous, it was still a change that would afford him some amusement. He entreated to be followed to walk about, to have fresh air, books, and writing materials. His requests were not granted, but he went on asking all the same. He accustomed himself to speaking to the new jailer, although the latter was, if possible, more taciturn than the old one. But still, to speak to a man, even though mute, was something. Dante spoke for the sake of hearing his own voice. Kind of like me, guys. I speak for my own voice. You'll have to pay in internet hugs. Yes! Okay. This is what you can do for me, guys. This is what I want. This is a good point. Thank you, Napster. Huggles is a currency, actually. Thank you for bringing it up. So if you wanted to be nice to Terea, that's me, I am putting together a collection of Huggles as clips. This is a thing. I have started to collect Huggle clips. No lie. I currently have 12 Huggle clips of various streamers. I have Sanjin, Warlander, I have Al, our already dead, I have Orchrist, I have Wintertide Wolf, I have Blood Saint, I have KC, I have Sanjin, I said that, I have Genuine Vision, with Sky. I have Studio J7. I have a little bit of Malleus, but not the best Malleus. I have 12 different streamers sending me Huggles, and I've clipped it, and I'm collecting clips of Huggles. So if you guys catch a streamer sending Huggles on stream, clip it for me and send it to me for my collection. I'm trying to gather whether it's actual Huggles, the screen, little heart symbol with their hands, if they're just saying it specifically, Huggles to the chat or Huggles to you or the Terea. Clip it, and I am collecting Huggles. It is now a currency for me personally. So anytime you catch a streamer sending Huggles, clip it for me and send it to me. That I would kill for. I'm collecting. So just know it. Collecting all the Huggles. I don't have an exchange rate for that coup, I'm sorry. Maybe Charles Fox, maybe. Hashtag Huggles. Hashtag Project Huggles. If you want to tag me, Terea Huggles or Project Huggles, do it. Hashtag Project Huggles. There we go. Official. True story. Project Huggles. I will search it. Project Huggles. Beamington, I think I could. Sometimes though I'm on my phone, which is not as nice to clip as it is on the PC. I'm on my phone a lot whenever I'm at work, so it's harder to do. But Project Huggles. Okay, back to chapter 15. I will get this right, I swear. I wish there was a stream for, a category of Huggles or positivity, but I think it's creative right now. Okay. So Dante's had been asking for stuff like writing materials and fresh air and books. He was being denied quite often. Alright, so from that, Dante spoke for the sake of hearing his own voice, kind of like me. Genuine vision. As I live and breathe, the wee Irish demon. Good morning, Genuine. Good morning, good morning, good morning, or late afternoon, whatever it is for you in the craziness. Let's see, I have this actually. I put Genuine's time on my phone just for him. He is 11 o'clock p.m. So good evening, Genuine. Good evening, Genuine. Thank you. Genuine has started calling me Poppet, and it's the cutest nickname I've ever had in a long time. So Genuine, thank you. I appreciate that a lot. It makes me blush. Poppet, because I'm like the Twitch little sister. I think I'm like the Twitch little sister. So I have a lot of amazing brothers and they're awesome, and I have some cool new sisters. There's not as many chicks in Twitch Creative, but they're all super amazing. I highly suggest them. So thank you. Okay. Okay. So Dante spoke for the sake of hearing his own voice, and he had tried to speak when alone, but the sound of his voice terrified him. Thank you for coming in to say hi before you left to go sleep. I hope you have an amazing dream filled of happy tiramisu dreams, Genuine, and he likes to make tiramisu and tell everybody about it, that he's gobbling up all this amazing tiramisu and nobody else has any. So thank you, Genuine. I hope you sleep well, sweetie. Say hi to Mrs. Jan. Give her my hug and my love. Hootie, Yes, he said poppet and not muppet, but I do have muppet hair, so that's fine. Okay, so in Dante's mind, he had revolted at the idea of assemblages of prisoners made up of thieves and vagabonds and murderers. He now wished to be amongst them in order to see some of their other faces besides that of his jailer. He sighed for the galleys with the infamous costume, the chain, and the brand of the shoulder. The galley slaves breathed in the fresh air of heaven and saw each other. They were very happy. He besought the jailer one day to let him have a companion were it even the mad abbey. The jailer, though rough and hardened by the constant sight of so much suffering, was yet a man. At the bottom of his heart, he had often had a feeling of pity for his unhappy young man who suffered so. He laid the request of number 34 before the governor, but the latter sapidly imagined that Dantes wished to conspire or attempt escape, and he refused the request. Dantes had exhausted all human resources, and he then turned to God. All the pious ideas that had long been forgotten returned. He recollected the prayers his mother had taught him. He discovered the new meaning in every word. Charles Fox, stop. I did promise Charles that I would kick him if I ever met him. I'm super short. I'm 5'2". I don't think the kick will hurt you. I think you'll be fine. Terea is really violent for a nice person. She kills for huggles. She threatens to kick people. I learned it from you, Hootie. That's what happened. I learned it from you. So if I'm ever violent, we're blaming Hootie, because that's what Hootie happens. Stop. Thank you, Beamy. So Dantes recalls all the prayers that his mother taught him, and he pores over every word. In prosperity, prayers seem but a mere medley of words till misfortune comes, and that unhappy sufferer first understands the meaning of the sublime language in which he invokes the pity of heaven. He prayed aloud, no longer terrified at the sounds of his own voice, for he fell into a sort of ecstasy. He laid every action of his life before the Almighty, proposed tasks to accomplish, and then, at the end of every prayer, introduced the entreaty, oftener addressed to the man than to God. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us. Yet, in spite of his earnest prayers, Dantes remained a prisoner. Then gloom settled heavily upon him. Dantes was a man of great simplicity of thought, and without education he could not, therefore, in solitude of his dungeon, traverse in mental vision the histories of the ages, bring to life the nations that had perished, and rebuild the ancient city so vast and stupendous in the light of the imagination that they pass before the eyes, glowing with celestial colors in Martin's Babylonian pictures. He could not do this. He whose past life was so short, whose present so melancholy, and his future so doubtful. 19 years of light to reflect upon in eternal darkness. No distraction could come to his aid. His energetic spirit that would have exalted in thus revisiting the past was imprisoned like an eagle in a cage. He clung to one idea, that of his happiness destroyed without apparent cause by an unheard of fatality. He considered and reconsidered this idea, devoured it, so to speak, as the implacable Ugolino devours the skull of Archbishop Roger in the Inferno of Dante. Rage supplanted religious fervor. There we go, guys. We're finally getting to the turning point of Dante's. He's finally less innocent. He's finally yearning to get some revenge, I think. Dante's uttered blasphemies that made his jailer recoil with horror, dashed himself furiously against the walls of his prison. He wreaked his anger upon everything, and chiefly upon himself, so that the least thing, a grain of sand, a straw, or a breath of air that annoyed him, led to many slurs of fury. Then the letter that Villefort had showed him recurred to his mind. Every line gleamed forth in fiery letters on the wall, like something of Belshazzar that I can't even say. He told himself that it was an enmity of man and not the vengeance of heaven that had thus plunged him into the deepest misery, and that would be correct. It would be a man who screwed his life, so that's true. He consigned his unknown persecutors to the most horrible tortures he could imagine, and he found them all insufficient, because after torture came death, and after death, if not repose, then at least the boon of unconsciousness. Good, okay, so he's finally thinking of revenge, and it's just not good enough. Good, Dante's used that fire. By dint of constantly dwelling on the idea of tranquility was death, and if punishment were the end in view, other tortures than death must be invented. Okay, so he thinks that death is too kind for them. Good job. He began to reflect on suicide. No, Dante's no. Unhappy he who at the brink of misfortune broods over ideas like these. Before him is a dead sea that stretches in azure calm before the eye. But he who unwarily ventures within its embrace finds himself struggling with that monster. The monster that would drag him down to perdition. Once thus ensnared, unless the protecting hand of God snatch him thence, all is over, and his struggles but tend to hasten his destruction. This state of mental anguish is, however, less terrible than the sufferings that precede or the punishment that would possibly follow. There is a sort of consolation at the contemplation of the yawning abyss, at the bottom of which lie darkness and obscurities. I should probably make that an alias. Sorry about that. So, add alias. Or I'll make that an alias. Thank you. I'll do that later. So, I'll do that later, Napster. I'll make it an alias. It's thug and group and hug. There you go. Those are the commands. You can also type commands and it'll show you my bot. There you go. All the huggles for chat. Chat gets all the huggles because you guys are amazing. You guys broke me this morning. Never tell Flick. Never. We're not telling Flick that you broke me. But you guys are amazing. Okay. He was in obscurity. Dante's reviewed his past life with composure. He was looking forward with terror to his future existence. And he chose the middle line that seemed to be giving him some refuge. Nothing, Beamington. We're not telling Flick anything. We're not telling Sanjan anything. We're not telling my bubbas anything. Nothing at all. Everything is quite normal here. Everything's fantastic. Thank you, Beanie. Sometimes, said he, in my voyages when I was a man and commanded other men, I have seen the heavens overcast, the sea rage and foam, the storms arise, and like a monstrous bird beating the two horizons with its wings. Then I felt that my vessel was vain refuge, and trembled and shook before the tempest. Soon the fury of the waves and the sight of the sharp rocks announced the approach of death, and death then terrified me. I used all my skill and intelligence as a man and as a sailor to struggle against the wrath of God, but I did so because I was happy, because I had not courted death, because to be cast upon a bed of rocks and seaweed seemed terrible. Because I was unwilling that I, a creature made for the service of God, should serve for food to the gulls and ravens. But now it's different. I have lost all that bound me to life. Death smiles and invites me to repose. I die after my own manner. I die exhausted and broken-spirited. As I fall asleep, when I have paced 3,000 times around my cell. The angry redhead, do I have a Twitter? So the answer to that is sort of. There is a Twitter name floating about for me, and I do occasionally follow a few people on Twitter, but I do not use Twitter. It is just something there to throw some numbers at fellow streamers who are amazing, to give you some love, but I don't use Twitter. I just don't. I use Instagram for my pictures and my painting of the miniatures, and that would be this. There's my Instagram if you want to go see the stuff. Like, I'm going to be making a copy of the Invisible Rhino for Art of Mike Disney's wife, Mrs. Disney. Mrs. Disney will be getting one because she is a Wonder Woman co-conspirator and she's adorable, so I will be making her one. But other than that, it's just this. My Facebook is, I do use Facebook, but it's for family and super close friends. Die-hard, like ride or die type friends. So mostly it's Instagram and here on Twitch. And I do have a YouTube, which I back up all my readings to YouTube. I'm a little behind, but it's just in case the VODs fall off. If you guys want to listen to reading later, it's on the YouTube. It's down below in the info box below. Okay. No sooner had this idea taken possession of him than he became more composed, arranged his couch to the best of his power, and ate little, slept less. He found the existence almost supportable, because he felt that he could throw it off at pleasure like a worn-out garment. Two methods of self-destruction were at his disposal. Hootie, I didn't say that. I actually do have a few choice people, but it's mostly family members who don't know how to pick up a phone and call people. I only have like 70 something friends on Facebook, so I keep it really small. It's mostly family. Two methods of self-destruction were at his disposal, unlike Hoot, who could have multiple ways to dispose of you, so beware of that. He could hang himself with his handkerchief to the window bars. He could refuse food and die of starvation. The first was repugnant to him. Dantes had always entertained the greatest horror of pirates who were hung up to the yardarm. He would not die by what seemed infamous death. He resolved to adopt the second and began that day to carry out his resolve. Nearly 4 years had passed away, and at the end of the second he had ceased to mark the lapse of time. Dante said, "I wish to die," and had chosen the manner of his death, and fearful of changing his mind, had taken an oath to die. "When my morning and evening meals are brought, I will cast them out of the window, and they will think that I have eaten them." He kept his word to himself. Twice a day he cast out through the barred aperture science. So he through the barred aperture the provisions his jailer brought him, at first gaily, then with deliberation, and at last with regret. Nothing but the recollection of his oath gave him strength to proceed. Oh, Dante's is silly. He needs to stop trying to suicide. That's stupid. Suicide is stupid, people. Don't do it. If you need help, call me. Give me a message. That's stupid. It's worthless. Don't do it. Hunger made viands once repugnant, now acceptable. He held the plate in his hand for an hour at a time. He gazed thoughtfully at the morsel of bad meat, of tainted fish, of black and moldy bread. It was the last yearning for life contending with the resolution of despair. And then his dungeon seemed less somber, his prospects less desperate. He was still young. He was only 4 or 25. He had nearly 50 years to live. What unforeseen events might not open his prison door and restore him to liberty? And then he raised to his lips the repast. Like a voluntary Tantalus, he refused himself, but he thought of his oath. He would not break it. He persisted until at last he had not sufficient strength to rise and cast his supper out the loophole. The next morning he could not see or hear. The jailer feared he was dangerously ill, and Edmund hoped he was dying. Thus the day passed away. Edmund felt sort of stupor creeping over him, which brought with it a feeling almost of content. The gnawing pain at his stomach had ceased. His thirst had abated, and when he closed his eyes, he saw myriads of lights dancing before them like will-o'-the-wisps that play out on the marshes. It was the twilight of that mysterious country called death. Suddenly, about 9 o'clock in the evening, Edmund heard a hollow sound in the wall, against which he was lying upon. So many loathsome animals inhabited the prison that their noise did not in general wake him, but whether abstinence had quickened his faculties, or whether the noise was really louder than usual, Edmund raised his head and listened. It was a continual scratching, as if made by a huge claw, a powerful tooth, or some iron instrument attacking the stones. Although weakened, the young man's brain instantly responded to the idea that haunts all prisoners: liberty. It seemed to him that heaven had at length taken pity on him and had sent the noise to warn him on the very brink of abyss. Perhaps one of those beloved ones he had often so thought about was thinking of him and striving to diminish the distance that separated them. No, doubtless he was deceived, and it was but one of those dreams and forerun of death. Edmund still heard the sound, and it lasted nearly 3 hours. Flippin' 3-hour tour, guys. That would drive you nuts, right? If you were in a cell and you heard something and it was annoying and it was 3 hours long, that would drive me crazy. I would have to kill the sound somehow. I would throw something at it, probably. That would drive me nuts. Hours afterwards, it began again, nearer and more distinct. Edmund was intensely interested, but suddenly the jailer entered. For a week since he resolved to die, and during the 4 days that he had been carrying out his purpose, Edmund had not spoken to the attendant, not answered him when he inquired what was the matter with him, and turned his face to the wall when he looked too curiously at him. But now the jailer might hear the noise and put an end to it, so destroy a ray of something like hope that soothed his last moments. The jailer brought with him breakfast. Dantes raised himself up and began to talk about everything, about the bad quality of food, about the coldness of his dungeon, grumbling and complaining in order to have an excuse for speaking louder, and wearying the patience of the jailer who, out of kindness of heart, had brought broth and white bread for his prisoner. Fortunately, he fancied that Dantes was delirious, and placing the food on the rickety table, he withdrew. Edmund listened, and the sound became more and more distinct. There can be no doubt about it, thought he. It's the same prisoner who is striving to obtain his freedom. Oh, and if I were only there to help him. Suddenly another idea took possession of his mind, so used to misfortune that it was scarcely capable of hope. The idea that the noise was made by a workman the governor had ordered to repair the neighboring dungeon. It was easy to ascertain this, but how could he risk the question? It was easy to call his jailer's attention to the noise and watch his countenance as he listened. But might he not by this means destroy the hopes far more important than the short-lived satisfaction of his own curiosity? Unfortunately, Edmund's brain was still so feeble, could not bend his thoughts to anything in particular. He saw but one means of restoring lucidity and clearness to his judgment. He turned his eyes towards the soup that the jailer had brought. He rose, staggered toward it, and raised the vessel to his lips. He drank off the contents with a feeling of indescribable pleasure. Wow, guys, to starve yourself, so far gone, finally finding a shred of hope, and then that first walk back to sanity. Good job, Dantes. Stop being a D-bag and just get her done. We need to get to this revenge already. He had often heard that shipwrecked persons had died through having eagerly devoured too much food. So Edmund replaced on the table the bread that he was about to devour and returned to his couch. He didn't wish to die. Yay! He soon felt that his ideas became again collected. He could think and strengthen his thoughts by reasoning. Then he said to himself, I must put this test to the test, but without compromising anyone. If it's a workman, I need but knock against the wall, and he will cease to work in order to find out who's knocking, right? And why he does so, but as his occupation is sanctioned by the governor, he'll soon resume it. If, on the contrary, it's a prisoner, the noise I make will alarm him. He will cease and not begin again until he thinks everyone is asleep. Okay, so he's trying to work out a way to figure this out by himself. Good job. Edmund rose again, but this time his legs did not tremble. His sight was clear, and so he went to a corner of his dungeon, detached a stone, and with it knocked against the wall where the sound came. He struck thrice. At the first blow, the sound ceased, as if by magic. Edmund listened intently. An hour passed. 2 hours passed. No sound was heard from the wall. All was silent. It's not... Oh, I think he's doing some stuff. It's not a command. Napster, I'm sorry. It's not currently a command. Okay. Full of hope, Edmund swallowed a few mouthfuls of bread and water, and thanks to the vigor of his constitution, found himself well nigh recovered. That's true, Kuzadan. I just don't have time to go do it right now because I'm reading, but I will make it a command after stream, I promise. I absolutely promise that it will now be Huggles instead of just Hug. I promise. The day passed away in utter silence. Oh, okay, Napster. Test away. That's right. So if everybody doesn't know, Napster is a brilliant coder. He is programming a bot for the Keep On item. And it's a toy that can listen and do other functions. And it like dances along with music and verbiage, and he's trying to code it so it responds to chat, and it's really cute. So Napster, if you could you link your Keep On video and show the people what you're talking about? It's amazing. It's pretty cute. It's adorable. And you can watch Napster code or help him out with coding on his stream, and there's a lot of streamers here this morning. I see Genuine and Napster and a bunch of people. So if you want to, please put your links in chat for me. That would be very kind. All of these amazing people are why we are here in Twitch Creative. They're amazing. Most of them always paint, but there are some people who do other things as well. Like Mort, he does D&D. Mort75 actually streams D&D games, and it's amazing, and he's got some really cool systems out there. Napster codes and does some other cool games. Kuzadan plays crazy ass off the wall games. So yeah, go take a look, post all your stuff we want to see. So full of hope, Edmund swallowed a few more mouthfuls of bread and water, and thanks to the vigor of his constitution, found himself almost recovered. The day passed away in utter silence. Night came without recurrence of the noise. "It is a prisoner," Edmund said joyfully. The night passed in perfect silence. Edmund did not close his eyes. The morning the jailer brought forth fresh provisions. He had already devoured those of the previous day, and he ate these, listening anxiously for the sound. Walking round and round his cell, shaking the iron bars of the loophole, restoring vigor and agility to his limbs by exercise, so preparing himself for the future destiny. At intervals he listened to learn if the noise had not begun again, and grew impatient at the prudence of the prisoner, who did not guess he had been disturbed by a captive as anxious for liberty as himself. 3 days passed. What's that? They do it on YouTube all the time. 3 hours later. 3 days passed. 72 long, tedious hours, which he counted off by minutes. Wow, he's getting crazy. At length one evening, as the jailer was visiting him for the last time, Dantes, with an ear for the 100th time at the wall, fancied he heard an almost imperceptible movement among the stones. He moved away, walked up and down his cell to collect his thoughts, and then went back and listened. The matter was no longer doubtful. Something was at work on the other side of the wall. The prisoner had discovered the danger and had substituted a lever for a chisel. Encouraged by this discovery, Edmund determined to assist the indefatigable laborer. He began by moving his bed and looked around for anything that he could pierce the wall, penetrate the moist cement, and displace a stone. He saw nothing. He had no knife or sharp instrument. The window grating was of iron, but he had too often assured himself of its solidity. All his furniture consisted of was a bed, a chair, a table, a pail, and a jug. The bed had iron clamps, but they were screwed to the wood, and it would have required a screwdriver to take them off. Table and chair had nothing. The pail was once possessed a handle, but had been removed. Dantes had but one resource, which was to break the jug, and with one of the sharp fragments attack the wall. He let the jug fall on the floor and it broke into pieces. He concealed 2 or 3 of the sharpest fragments in his bed, leaving the rest on the floor. The breaking of his jug was too natural an accident to excite suspicion. Edmund had all the night to work in, but the darkness he could not do much. He soon felt that he was working against something very hard. He pushed back his bed and waited for the day. All night he heard subterranean workmen who continued to mine his way. Day came, the jailer entered, and Dante told him that the jug had fallen from his hands while he was drinking, and the jailer went grumbling to fetch another, without giving himself the trouble to remove the fragments of the broken one. He returned speedily, advised the prisoner to be more careful, and departed. Dantes heard joyfully the key grate in the lock. He listened until the sound of steps died away, and then hastily, displacing his bed, saw by the faint light that penetrated into his cell that he had labored uselessly the previous evening in attacking the stone instead of removing the plaster that surrounded it. The damp had rendered it friable, and Dantes was able to break it off in small morsels, it's true, but at the end of half an hour he had scraped off a handful. A mathematician might have calculated that in 2 years, supposing the rock was not encountered, a passage 20 feet long and 2 feet broad might be formed. The prisoner reproached himself with not having thus employed the hours he had passed in vain hopes, prayer, and despondency. During the 6 years that he had been imprisoned, what might he not have accomplished? Okay, guys, so he's been here for 6 years now. In 3 days, he had succeeded with the utmost precaution in removing the cement and exposing the stonework. The wall was built of rough stone, among which, to give strength to the structure, blocks of hewn stone were at intervals embedded. It was one of those he had uncovered, which he must remove from its socket. Okay, so there's rocks in the stone, that's cool. Dante strove to do this with his nails, but they were too weak. The fragments of the jug broke, and after an hour of useless toil, he paused. Was he to be stopped at the beginning, and was he to wait inactive for his fellow workmen until his fellow workman had completed his task? Suddenly an idea occurred to him, and he smiled, and the perspiration dried on his forehead. The jailer always brought Dante's soup in an iron saucepan. This saucepan contained soup for both prisoners, for Dantes had noticed that it was either quite full or half empty, according as the turnkey gave it to him or the companion first. The handle of the saucepan was iron. He would have given 10 years of his life in exchange for it. Okay. The jailer was accustomed to pour the contents of the saucepan into Dante's plate, and Dantes, after eating his soup with his wooden spoon, washed the plate, which thus served for every day. Now, when evening came, Dantes put his plate on the ground near the door. The jailer, as he entered, stepped on it and broke it. This time he could not blame Dantes. He was wrong to leave it there, but the jailer was wrong not to have looked. The jailer therefore only grumbled. He looked about for something to pour the soup into. Dante's entire dinner service consisted of one plate. There was no alternative. "Leave the saucepan," says Dantes. "You can take it away when you bring me my breakfast." This advice was to the jailer's taste, as it spared him the necessity of making another trip, so he left it. Dantes was beside himself with joy. He rapidly devoured his food, and after waiting an hour, lest the jailer could be changed his mind and return, he removed his bed, took the handle of the saucepan, and inserted it, the point between the hewn stone and the rough stones of the wall. He employed it as a lever. Slight oscillations showed that it had went well. Good. At the end of an hour, the stone was extruded from the wall, leaving a cavity of 1.5 feet in diameter. Wow, 1.5 feet of diameter is pretty significant for a dude in a prison cell. Dantes collected the plaster, carried it into the corner, and covered it with earth. Wishing to make the best use of his time while he had the means of labor, he continued to work without ceasing. At the dawn of day, he replaced the stone. Aww. Good job, Napster. Successful indeed. You huggle yourself. That's really sweet. It's good to love yourself. The breakfast consisted, whenever the jailer returned, of bread, and he replaced the bread on the table. Don't you intend to bring me another plate, says Dantes. No, you destroy everything. First you break your jug, and then you make me break your plate. If all the prisoners followed your example, the government would be ruined. I'll leave you the saucepan and pour your soup in that. So for the future, I hope you won't be so destructive. Thank you, Charles Fox, for listening to me this morning. I see that you're going mobile and listening while you drive. I hope you have an amazing day at work, if that's where you're going or whatnot. Everybody, I will be ending soon. Let's see how far I have left. I'm going to try to finish this chapter quick. I did not intend to go this far this morning, but you guys broke me. Thank you, Art of Mike Disney. And all the hosts this morning, and many hosts, and Mort, and Genuine Vision, and Napster, and Like a Ninja, and Angry Redhead, and all of you guys. So thank you for breaking me this morning. It was the most happy break that I've had in a long time. You guys are adorable. So I'll be finishing this chapter very quickly, and then I have to go because I'm meeting some people in real life for the very first time at a game shop and watching some 40K being played. And hopefully I will not be as nervous to meet these people and make some friends in real life at the game shop. So we'll hope that they like the Terea and that they don't kill me and they don't like smack me for being an idiot. So we'll see. It's cool to get out and be social. I haven't been social in a long time. So we'll see if they approve of me being a nerd or not. Wish me luck. I need luck. I hope I don't come off like a complete fool. Remembers what it takes to get a broken Terea and starts plotting. Charles Fox, don't you dare. So now he's got a saucepan, guys. Always nervous meeting strangers. Yeah, I mean, just because you talk to people online and know them, and maybe I've known them for a year, maybe, doesn't mean it's not nervous to meet somebody in real life. So it's not about them, it's about me. It's about me being an idiot and not wanting to come off as foolish or horrible, or after they meet me, what if they go back and they're like, that's a rare girl. We should never talk to her again. And then you lose people as friends, right? Because you were horrible or it's just stupid. So that's what I'm afraid of. It's hard. It's hard. Anyway, okay, let's finish this chapter. Yay! Finish the chapter. Okay. He had noticed, however, that the prisoner on the other side of his labor had ceased. No matter, it was a great reason for proceeding. If his neighbor would not come to him, he would go to his neighbor. He toiled on untiringly, and by the evening he succeeded in extracting 10 handfuls of plaster. So he's doing all of this work with his bare hands. He made a big dent with a stone, but then he's now 10 handfuls of plaster is what this guy has been working on all day. I know, Kuzadan. They're actually really amazing people that I'm going to meet today. They're really amazing. They're the best of people that you could ever think of. They are exceptional. I'm just worried because I'm a girl and #girlisms. I admit to girlisms. I admit to them all. It's not just girlisms, but peopleisms, I guess. You always want to put forth your best foot forward, and you want to make a good impression on people that are friends or cool people, and I'm not that cool. And so they are the best of people. No worries about that. I'm going to meet the best of people today. So not the best, because you guys are the best of people right now. But I'm meeting some badass people today. So we'll see. Okay. So Dante's toiled and toiled. He still has his saucepan that he's using, and he's doing a lot of work. And the turnkey poured his ration of soup into his saucepan together with fish, and for thrice a week the prisoners were deprived of meat. Okay. It would have been a method of reckoning time had Dante's ceased to care long ago. Having poured out the soup, the turnkey retired, and Dante's wished to ascertain whether his neighbor had really ceased to work. He listened, and all was silent. It had been at least 3 days. Dante sighed, and was evident that the neighbor distrusted him. This is all in poor Dante's head. It goes on and on a little bit. After a couple of hours, he encountered an obstacle. The iron made no impression, but met with smooth surface. Dante's touched it and found that it was a beam. It's a beam, like Beamy. This Beamy crossed, or rather blocked up, the holes Dante's had made. It was necessary, therefore, to dig above or under it. That's right. You have to go above or under Beamy because he is solid. Go Beamy. The unhappy young man had not thought of this. Oh my God, my God. I have so earnestly prayed to you that I hoped my prayers had been heard. After having deprived me of my liberty and having deprived me of death, after recalling my existence, have pity on me and do not let me die in despair. Thank you, Mini Painter Luke. You are sweet. Thank you. Thank you for saying so. That's very nice of you. Mini Painter Luke. Today is Saturday. Mini Painter Luke. He is also a streamer. His painting is amazing. Go check out Mini Painter Luke. Okay. Who talks of God and despair at the same time? Said a voice that seemed to come from beneath the earth. Deadened by the silence, sounded hollow and sepulchral in the young man's ears. Edmund's hair stood on end, and he rose to his knees. Ah, he said, I hear a human voice. Edmund had not heard anyone speak, save for his jailer, for 4 or 5 years. A jailer is no man to a prisoner. He is a living door, a barrier of flesh and blood, adding strength to the restraints of oak and iron. In the name of heaven, cried Dante, speak again. Though the sound of your voice terrifies me, who are you? Who are you? Said the voice. An unhappy prisoner, cried Dantes, made no hesitation in answering. Of what country? A Frenchman. Your name? Edmond Dantes. Your profession? A sailor. How long have you been here? Since the 28th of February, 1815. Your crime? I'm innocent. But what are you accused? of having conspired to aid the Emperor's return. What? For the Emperor's return? The Emperor is no longer on the throne then. He abdicated at Fontainebleau in 1814 and was sent to the island of Elba. But how long have you been here if you're ignorant of all this? Since 1811. Dantes shuddered. The man had been 4 years longer than himself in prison. Don't dig anymore, said the voice. Only tell me, how high up is your excavation? It is on a level with the floor. How is it concealed? Behind my bed. Has your bed been moved since you've been a prisoner? No. What does your chamber open on? A corridor. And the corridor on a court. Alas, said the voice. What's the matter? I have made a mistake owing to an error in my plans. I took the wrong angle and have come out 15 feet where I actually intended. I took the wall you're mining for, the outer wall of the fortress. But then you would be so close to the sea? That's what I hoped for. And what if you succeeded? I should have thrown myself into the sea, gained one of the islands near here, the Isle of Dom and the Isle of Tiburon, then I should be safe. But could you have swum so far? Heaven would have given me strength, but now all is lost. All of it? Yes. Stop up your excavation carefully, do not work anymore, and wait until you hear from me. Tell me at least who you are. I am number 27. You mistrust me then, said Dantes. Edmund fancied he heard a bitter laugh resounding from the depths. Oh, I am a Christian, cried Dantes, guessing instinctively that this man meant to abandon him. I swear to you by him who died for us all, naught shall induce me to breathe one syllable to my jailers. I conjure you, do not abandon me. If you do, I swear to you, for I have to the end of my strength, that I will dash my brains out against this wall. You will have my death to reproach yourself with. How old are you? Your voice is that of a young man. I don't know my age. I have not counted the years since I have been here. All I do know is that I was just 19 when I was arrested, the 28th of February, 1815. Not quite 26, murmured the voice. At that age, he cannot be a traitor. No, I swear to you again, rather than betray you, I would allow myself to be hacked in pieces. You have done well to speak to me and ask for my assistance, for I was about to form another plan and leave you, but your age reassures me. I will not forget you. Wait. How long? I must calculate our chances, and I will give you the signal. But you will not leave me. You will come to me, or you will let me come to you. We will escape, and if we cannot escape, we will talk. And if you of those whom you love, and I of those whom I love, you must love somebody. No, I'm alone in the world. Then you will love me. If you are young, I will be your comrade. If you are old, I will be your son. If you have a father who is 70 and he yet lives, I only love him and a young girl called Mercedes. My father has not yet forgotten me, I am sure, but God alone knows if she still loves me. I shall love you as I loved my father. It is well, returned the voice. Tomorrow. These few words were uttered with an accent left no doubt of his sincerity. He gave himself up to his happiness. He would no longer be alone, and that was about to regain his liberty. At the worst, he would have a companion, and captivity that is shared, but is of half captivity. Plaints made in common are almost prayers, and prayers where 2 or 3 gather together invoke the mercy of heaven. All day Dantes walked up and down his cell. He sat down occasionally on his bed, pressing his hand to his heart. The slightest noise, he bounded toward the door. Once or twice the thought crossed his mind that he might have been separated from this unknown whom he loved already, and his mind was made up that when the jailer moved his bed and stooped to examine the opening, he'd kill him with the water jug. He would be condemned to die, but then he was about to die of grief and despair when the miraculous noise recalled him to life. The jailer came in the evening. Dante's was on his bed, and it seemed that it was better guarded the unfinished opening. It was better to guard it. Good. Doubtless there was a strange expression in his eyes, for the jailer said, "Come, are you going mad again?" Dante's did not answer. He feared the emotion in his voice would betray him. The jailer went away, shaking his head, and night came. Dante's hoped that his neighbor would profit by the silence to address him, but he was mistaken. The next morning, however, just as he removed his bed from the wall, he heard 3 knocks. He threw himself on his knees. "Is it you? I am here." "Is your jailer gone?" "Yes, he will not return until the evening, so that we have 12 hours before us." "So I can work then?" "Oh, yes, this instant, I entreat you." In a moment, that part of the floor on which Dante's was resting his 2 hands as he knelt with his head in the opening suddenly gave way. He drew back smartly while a mass of stones and earth disappeared in a hole and opened between the aperture he himself had formed. Then, from the bottom of the passage, the depth of which it was impossible to measure, he saw appear first the head, then the shoulders, and lastly the body of a man who sprang lightly into his cell. Yay, prisoner 27 finally made it. Okay, so there is where we are going to end today, my friends. I was gonna end like an hour ago, but you guys are amazing, so we are now going to start on chapter 16 in a couple of weeks. No, he's not gonna eat Dante. We're gonna wrap up. We're gonna go find someone to share the love with. I like to send you guys on to miniature painters, because mini painters are the amazing people of whom I love. So let's go see who's on, and we will share the love. Let's see. Currently there's Jimmy the Brush and Studio J7, but Deadloader just went live. Deadloader is hilarious. We're gonna go see Deadloader because I found him before Beamy found him. Where did he go? I swear he's on. I swear to... There he is. Okay, so we're gonna go see Deadloader. He's hilarious. Let's go do this. Where is my thing? All right, so thank you so much everyone for coming by. We will be reading some Fritz Lieber soon. I do have Tuesdays going on. Tuesday nights we're playing the game Sorcery. It's a choose your own adventure path. It's at 7 p.m. Central Time in the US, which is GMT minus 6 plus 6. There we go. It's a GMT plus 6 and or minus 6. Yeah, minus 6. There we go. Because all time starts in England apparently. And that's what we do on Tuesdays. We play Sorcery. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys so much. You're amazing, and I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. Everybody go out. Have an amazing weekend. Come back. Tell me all about it. I hope you have fun and all the light and love and huggles. Let's go host this nerd. Deadloader. Host dead loader. Let's see what happens. See you guys there. Bye.